Hey everybody, I'm Quinn.
And I'm Scott. It's time for the Almost Friday show for February 24th, 2011. First up, Dave's got some comics from the gutters. We're looking at Atomic Robo.
Which is a favorite here among us.
Yes, Dave and Sean are very fond. And Term Life as well.
In Tech Insight, we're taking a look at the new Macbook Pros that got announced.
This morning, actually.
Yes.
Yeah. Not terribly exciting unless you're like that Mac guy.
Yes.
Who buys a new one every year no matter what.
Or if you were really excited for Light Peak, and we'll tell you more.
Thunderbolt.
In Mad Science, we're taking a look at nano-generators.
Yeah, so like
kind of crazy.
some kind of generator that goes inside you to power your pacemaker.
I see.
So you kind of produce your own power to stop yourself from dying.
It's one of those things you're going to have to get plugged in at the end of the night or something.
No, you don't have to charge yourself. That defeats the purpose.
No.
That's so you don't have to charge yourself.
We're getting turned
You
into
do it,
batteries. It's happening.
Well, you're making it's a generator, not important, but yes.
And behind the lens this week, we're taking a look at some really awesomely priced mod straps if you need to put some follow focus gears on your lenses.
Yeah, you'll like them. They're a lot less compact than the standard hoo-ha.
Yeah. Without further ado, it's time for Dave and From the Gutters.
Welcome everybody to From the Gutters. We're going to be discussing two books this week. First one is going to be Atomic Robo, The Deadly Art of Science, Issue 4 of Volume 5. And we're also going to be discussing Term Life. The first one we're going to be talking about, though, is Atomic Robo. I really like this series. I was just reading a bunch of the old trade paperbacks. Written by, Brian Clevenger, illustrated by Scott Wegener. These two guys have been working on most of the series together. There have been other artists, but it's always been, I believe, Mr. Clevenger working on the writing. In this particular story, we have the early years, sort of the 1930s, 1920s for Atomic Robo. So he is apparently quite young at this point. And in this particular issue, in the last issue, he sort of got into like a makeout thing with his sort of teacher's daughter, and it's been sort of not tense, but what I find interesting is that in this story no one's really disapproving terribly hard. Anyway, it's done mostly, I think, for fun, and the artwork, the funny thing about Wegener's artwork is that his stuff used to have really thick lines and really hard angles. And the angles are still there, but we have softer lines. So maybe that's, I don't know if that's a result of him being on a schedule and having to get the book out on a certain date, or if it's just because that's the growth of his artwork. The writing as well. Clevenger's writing has also been moving along. It's been, he's getting to be a better storyteller. He's had practice is what it's come down to. So now he's sort of creating, unraveling the universe. And it's a really great thing to see. And it's neat to have been reading it from the beginning as well. This book, I give it a B+. It wasn't one of those things where I was like laughing out loud. There were some really clever lines in the earlier books. And it isn't that this is a whole lot less clever, but the earlier Atomic Robo, that'd be like a bordering on A+ material, whereas this is A-. Still really good. Oh my goodness, so worth it. All right, Term Life. This was a very big surprise for me. It's a collection, a trade paperback, put out by Image Shadowline. It's written by A.J. Lieberman and illustrated by Nick. Can't remember his last name. I'm so sorry. We'll post it in the show notes. But flipped through it and I was like, the artwork looks decent, and the writing, well, we'll see. Whatever. It was a decently priced book. It was going for $16.99 US, and Lieberman's writing. It seems to me that he was writing a story that he was hoping would be adapted into a movie, which seems to be happening a lot. I've said that before, but it seems to be sort of the new trend in comic books. You're creating a property that you're hoping to sell. it's the story is a guy who has been targeted by the Russian mafia in the United States because the mob boss thinks that our protagonist has killed his son, and he says he didn't. There's no proof that he didn't in the story. We're just taking his word for it. But he's like, you know what? I've got a daughter. I'm going to take out a life insurance policy on myself, and I'm, as long as the money goes to her, I'm not really that concerned about whether I die or not, but I want her to be set for life. The problem is he has to get through 21 days for his background to be checked and everything before his policy takes effect. So he's trying to survive these 21 days. Now the thing is, with the storytelling, it goes back and forth in time. And it's sort of that Kill Bill-esque kind of storytelling. We see a little bit of a story from the future, from the past. And it all gets woven rather well, I thought. And the artwork, it wasn't super gifted artwork, but it was very appropriate artwork, and visually it told the story really well. And I kind of suspect that it's sort of intended as a storyboard for the story of the comic book, so that when a person who is going to produce a movie says, hey, you know what, this totally translates into a movie really well. So all in all, I give this book, it's a surprisingly enjoyable book, a great read. I give it an A- as well. So that's it this week. We got 2 A-, Atomic Robo, and Term Life. That's it this week. I will talk to you soon from the gutters.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tech Insight. Kicking it off with some new MacBook Pro news.
Yes, as expected, the MacBook Pros were due for an update. They got updated this morning. Apple Store went down, came back up with new MacBook Pros. It's basically nothing revolutionary here, really. All the bodies
Although
are the
Apple
same.
would say otherwise.
Well, they always would.
Yes.
They'd add a button and be like, it's a new product altogether.
Yeah.
But what they basically done is that they look exactly the same. All the models are the same. They're still the 13, 15, 17, that kind of thing. So now they're all running i5 or better. So the 15 and 13, I think, have i5s with an option to upgrade to i7s or something like that. It might be i7 only on the 15, actually. But the 13 is up on i5s now, at least, with an i7 option, which is nice because it was on Core 2s before. New graphics. Now, this is interesting because they're running Intel processors still.
Yep.
With AMD graphics, which is kind of unique in the laptop field. You usually see Intel paired with NVIDIA and AMD paired with AMD.
Yeah, because AMD kind of wants you to
Well,
buy all their own stuff.
Which is good, though, because AMD does make a superior card right now.
Yeah.
Next week, who knows. But so the options are, they get some not very exciting Intel 3000 card built in for your onboard graphics. And then discrete graphics are some of the newer cards. I think 6450 or
Yeah,
something like that. With an option to upgrade.
6750 or 6850.
Something like that. They're the 6000 series cards. They're pretty new, and there's not very many of them.
I mean, I'm pretty stoked about 1 gigabit DDR5.
Yeah, they're definitely good cards for mobile space for sure. So
They've also upped the solid state drive size that's
Yes.
available. You can get a 512 gig solid state
for
drive
like $1,000,
for $1,100 Canadian.
which is ridiculous.
They go up to 8 gigs of RAM. I think it's
Yeah.
a little bit cheaper now to upgrade because they
For RAM,
Yeah,
I hope so. Their
I mean,
RAM
it's
has
like-
always been ridiculous.
It's only like $200 to go from 4 to 8, which is pretty
which
decent.
is still wrong, but you know,
But better than it used to
better.
be.
Yes, that's for sure. New camera, the FaceTime HD camera.
I think it's doing some sort of full high definition or
Something
or
like
at least 720p.
They
or
were a little
something.
behind in that respect. I mean, most cameras come with HD cameras.
Now
or
the catch to
laptops.
that is now if you want to use, I guess, the higher quality. I don't know how this works. They're charging $1 for the FaceTime HD app.
in the Mac
So
Store, yeah.
if I already have FaceTime, I don't know whether I have to now upgrade to the dollar app or if I only have to pay $1 if I've got these new cameras.
See, it's weird because my FaceTime still opens,
Yeah.
so I don't know. But it is a little weird they're charging $1 considering they're trying to compete with free services,
Yeah, like Skype, which is like, hey, have it for free.
and which apparently works just as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that's about, but you know they're Apple, so I'm sure they've got an idea.
So the big thing everyone is talking about, though, is that they've decided to bring Light Peak into their laptops, except it's no longer called LightPeak.
No, as the rumors pointed out, it was going to be referred to as Thunderbolt, and we kind of thought that would be a Mac branding of the LightPeak tech. No, Intel is now calling it Thunderbolt,
which is way less interesting than LightPeak.
Also weird because Thunderbolts don't exist.
It's true.
It's a lightning bolt, but not important. So it's basically the LightPeak tech we've been talking about and hearing about forever. So dual channel 10 gigabit transfer range, which is smoking fast.
Yeah.
It's built into the mini DisplayPort. So your I/Os on the laptops are all exactly the same as previous gen, but there's a little lightning bolt beside the Thunderbolt beside the mini DisplayPort. So basically, what that allows you to do is it's really fast data transfer. So it's like USB 3 times 3.
Yeah.
More or less. So what the applications of this are is somewhat questionable. But they did also come out and have one company announced they were making a RAID array that would work on LightPeak.
Yeah.
And apparently it's smoking fast, this RAID thing. So like that's almost SATA speeds, right?
If you're a working professional that's doing photography or videography with one of these laptops, it's definitely going to be good to come home and be able to dock into a really fast hard drive to do your major rendering and stuff on.
Like they were saying, you could actually use this as your scratch disk. It's that fast. So it's quick. Lacey jumped on board. They're going to release something like a Go Drive or something. The new name for it. But there's Western Digital also came out and said we're going to make a hard drive. It's really hard drive oriented because there's nothing else you could use.
But the neat thing is that you can daisy chain this stuff together.
Yeah.
So because you don't want to lose your mini DisplayPort to some hard drives, but instead what you'll do is you'll plug it in, and theoretically what we'll probably see is Apple will update their cinema display to have a LightPeak out port on the back of it probably. So I mean that's kind of cool that you can come home, dock your laptop, and then your display and your hard drives are now connected.
Yeah.
So that's kind of an interesting.
I think that's a good way to build together because you come home with your laptop, 2 cables.
Yeah.
Power display port, you're done because your mouse is already Bluetooth, your keyboard's Bluetooth. So that looks like a good system. On the Intel side of things, it is called Thunderbolt officially from Intel. They released it today as well. And it is not an Apple exclusive by any means. The technology is open to all OEMs. No one's jumping on it except for Apple, which I thought was kind of interesting. Like literally no one else wants to make any products till 2012, according to Intel.
Yeah.
Which is kind of wah-wah.
But that's Apple. They like to try and be the first to do
Yeah,
things and hope that everyone will follow suit with them.
Yeah, the good thing here though is that it's an Intel tech, so it means it's not useless. Hopefully, that it's generally Intel does good things.
Yeah.
Apple does things like FireWire. But it looks kind of exciting. So it's not exclusive to Apple, which is good. And it's not always optical. You can have electric cables, like copper cables, but that limits the length to something really ridiculous, like 3 feet or something. So
continuing on with the Apple news, March 2nd.
next week.
It's going to be the launch, well, at least the announcement probably, of the iPad 2.
It looks like
the 2 on the 2nd. There's been a whole lot of rumors flying around about it
a lot of them conflicting.
whether it's going to have Retina display or not. We're probably pretty certain it's going to, at the very least, have a front-facing camera for FaceTime.
I would hope so.
And it would be silly for them not to have a back camera because I think a lot of people wanted that.
Yeah.
There's been some talk about an A9 processor in there that might be about 1.2 or 1.5 gigahertz. And then there was something about how
there's talk of an SD
if they
slot,
went Retina display, they'd have to have a lot more RAM. So if they went Retina display, it would probably force them to not skimp on the RAM, which might be a good thing.
I don't think you'll see Retina display because I don't see the cost go way too high.
Yeah, so...
but who knows? I mean, they've seen it apparently.
It's all been kind of a wash, and there's really no definite... outside of probably some cameras on it, there's really nothing nailed down.
I do think, spec-wise, it's not going to set itself apart from any kind of...
No, I think it's just going to design itself to keep up with what's coming out right now from Android.
And there's also been some Mobile Me talk. You can't buy Mobile Me in stores or online anymore.
Yeah.
Which means you can't buy it at all.
Yeah.
So I think next week you'll also see an iOS 4.3 release with possibly a Mobile Me announcement. I'm not 100% sure, but it looks like it's going that way.
Yeah.
Free Mobile Me would be sweet. That's a big kick in Google's pants.
Well, I love Mobile Me. I just had to redo my laptop this week, and I've logged in my Mobile Me, and my bookmarks, and my passwords, and my calendar, and my email, everything just reinstalled itself on my laptop. I didn't have to reset anything. So you sync Mobile Me, and then boom, everything's back to where it was. It was really easy to transition back into a new laptop for me that way. So I like Mobile Me, and at least what it offers if you do use a lot of Mac products.
So we'll see what happens there. We'll definitely keep you up to date. Check out next week's show for full details on the iPad event. Moving along to non-Apple news.
You know what's a trap for me? is when the Girls Guides, they show up at my house and they got
Sell
the
you the
box of
cookies.
cookies because their cookies are so damn good.
And you generally just take all the money out of your wallet
Yeah.
and just,
And then,
how many
you know,
cookies can I get for this?
And then you're never satisfied because you're like, I only
45
bought,
minutes
I only
later, they're
bought
gone.
5 boxes and really I wanted 15 boxes.
Well, now they're starting the Girl Scouts, this is in America, sorry, Canada, around with Android and iOS devices with credit card payment systems in them, so you can now buy your Girl Guide cookies with your credit card. How awesome is that?
Girl Scouts are just going to be raking in money.
I think their profits are going to go way up this year.
They'd be like, this is the smartest thing we've ever done. People are going to be buying 3 times as many cookies as they would have.
Normally, like, oh, I only have $5, I'm going to buy 2 boxes. Now you're like, I have all the money.
How many boxes does $1,000 get me?
Yeah.
Call the other truck.
Yeah, double it. So that's kind of a neat use of the tech. It kind of makes sense. They're using Inuit's Go payment system.
Although I'm kind of leery about the idea of like, you know, little 10-year-old girls be like, let me give me a credit card. And be like, all right.
Well, I'm assuming there'll be parents around. I don't know.
One would hope.
I
Otherwise,
just take my card, give me the cookies.
just fostering an entirely new generation of just paying for everything when they need it. Anyway, interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Tech getting rolled out to the Girl Scouts. It's kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Bring it to the Girl Guide. Scott wants his cookies.
Yeah. Lots of them.
Yes. Now to round out the segment, we're going to have a little bit of Android news, because we were heavy on the Apple at the top.
Yeah.
A little bit of Microsoft news. Kind of. Basically, this is Gingerbread stuff. The whole, Zoom shipping with Gingerbread, that's awesome. Oh, wait, we don't have Flash.
Yeah.
That's because they were waiting to put Flash 10.2 on it, and Flash 10.2 for mobile's not out yet, all this stuff. It's coming. A few weeks tops, Flash will be on Honeycomb baked in. So.
It's, it's funny because, there's Flash on like 2.3, but not on 3. And it's like, there's so much fragmentation. It really
Android's a
bothers
little
me.
confused. Yeah.
It's like, you gotta read like 700 spec sheets to know what you're buying, because it's like this Android is different than this Android, and it's running 2.1 versus 2.3 versus 3, but this 3 doesn't have
And
this,
that's-
and this 2.3 does have that.
And that's
it's
just
like,
the
what
phone
is going on?
That's just the phone environment.
I know.
Wait till the tablet starts going nuts.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
So Flash is coming. Don't fret if you
Go out and buy the $800 Zoom,
It's only $600 on contract, which is almost the same as an iPad
I suppose.
ish.
But you're in a contract.
It's not very long though.
If it's more than like 3 months, it's too long.
But I think it's like a 1 month or something stupid. I read this thing where you had to have like a 1 month data plan to get a Zoom, and I was like, that's what?
That doesn't make any sense. We'll give you $200 off if you pay for $30 worth of data.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it was for the discounted model. I think it was period for the
Okay.
Verizon brand. Anyway, not important. So that's that. Next up, the API is out. Came out this week for Honeycomb. So if you're a developer and you're anxious to get your app up to spec for when Honeycomb really hits the market, you can do that. And apparently, now I don't know anything about developing for Android, but apparently everyone's over the moon with the amount of APIs that have been presented in this new package. So hopefully we'll see some cool apps coming out
Yeah, definitely.
for Honeycomb. And last but not least, the Daily, according to All Things D, is coming to Android
Interesting.
this year. That's quick considering they were do the whole, partnered with Apple for the release, and they even had like an Apple executive there to announce it and stuff. I don't know how happy Apple's going to be about that.
No, probably not, but,
But if you look at it, Apple's subscription model gets them 30% of all of them, and Google's only gets them 10, so Apple still goes sell 3 times as many,
yeah.
Then you're making our money. So I don't think they'll care.
Yeah.
But still, good to see that that's spreading out, because that pissed me off.
And finally, some Microsoft news.
Kinda. So Connect, which everyone has hacked to work on everything else, Microsoft's going to release APIs.
They were kind of like, listen, we understand that apparently you can do really cool things with this device. Here's the damn code.
Which makes sense.
And, good on you, Microsoft, for not being like, hey, stop that.
Hopefully it's a decent...
At least you're not being Sony and, suing people over hacking.
Yeah, no, Microsoft kind of like, yeah, here you go. So that should be coming out later in the spring. I think that's good. I don't see a lot of people using it, really. But, at least the option's there.
Yep.
Last but not least, Canadians. Here's our mandatory Canadian content for the week. The Zune HD can now be purchased in Canada. 2 years later.
There's like 3.5 of you that are like jumping up and down right now. I know it.
It's
that dude that's got the Zune tattoo on his arm.
he doesn't like Zune anymore. He moved on.
Oh.
Yeah, sad story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he probably got it. Steve Jobs came over and put an apple on instead.
No, you just drew a little apple peeing on the Zune symbol. That's what he did.
On the back of the trucks.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, if you really wanted your Zune, you can... Really?
I don't know why you'd buy it now.
You know what? And you still can't get Zune Pass here.
Which really is the only reason I have a Zune.
You don't even need a Zune to use Zune Pass. That's the best part.
Yeah.
But seriously, get Zune Pass here. It's the only good service the Zune Marketplace has.
It's true.
What are you doing, Microsoft? What are you doing?
Just give us the damn Zune Pass.
And, release good products instead of the
Well, that
Zune
too.
HD 10 years late.
Yeah.
Whatever.
All right, well, that wraps up Tech Insight for this week.
It's kind of alive!
Nah, it's still dead.
Oh. Hi everyone, welcome to Mad Science for this week. Kicking it off, we have... we're not completely robotic this week, just...
We're mostly robotic this week. We're not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's all medical based-ish.
Cool. So our first story is...
nano-generators. This is kind of neat. Basically, they've taken piezoelectronics to a different kind of level.
Yep.
So, when we're reading into this, they take, I believe it's lead, zirconia, and titanate, or tritonate. Basically little cables.
Like little cable.
Yeah, we're talking the width of a human hair here.
Yeah.
And they put it onto a gel substrate. But what they do first is they kind of stretch the gel, embed the cable, and then when you let the gel
Put it
go
back
back,
together.
it goes like, floop,
Yep.
so it's kind of wavy.
Yeah, so that way it can
Move.
expand and stuff without cracking.
And the whole point of this is they're going to actually put this around your lungs.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole idea is, as you breathe, you're generating power.
Yep.
Using the, they've dubbed it a new way. It's no longer just the piezoelectric effect, which is, if you take a piece of quartz, for instance, and you apply pressure, you get actual,
To generate
you get a current.
electricity through kinetics.
Exactly. In this case, it's called flexoelectronics, or electrics, which is a very neat effect now, because as the wires flex up and down, they're actually creating the electric current and charge that is required for certain medical implants, such as pacemakers.
Pacemaker,
Yeah. So this is kind of a neat thing. It needs to, I think, this could save a lot of lives, a lot of time, and also help a lot of people along the road,
Yeah.
because this is going to get very, very cool. They're actually working on increasing its efficiency. So they have basically their Model 1 down, and Mark 2 is on the way.
Yeah, right now this is still kind of in the, hopefully sometime down the line we'll be able to use in pacemakers kind of phase.
Yeah, and it's really neat, so check out the show note for the links. The next one is robotic muscles. It's not, it's robotics. All right, so it's robotic muscles using shape memory alloys. So we've talked about shape memory alloys before. It's called, the one that I'm most familiar with is called nitinol, which is nickel titanium alloy, basically wire. It's used a lot in animatronics.
Yep.
Either you use it just for its tensile strength, or you can use it for its, deformative sort of capabilities. You kind of heat the wire into the position you want it to stay in, and then you can crumple it up, do whatever you want to it.
And then it just
Yeah.
goes back.
Apply heat or current, and it goes back to however the hell you said it the first time.
All right.
So they're using this in a way of robotic muscles, kind of like if you can imagine making a robotic spider this time around. You no longer have to use a great big servo a servo that's this big. It's smaller, takes up less space, and apparently applies more torque in its actual movement than electric motors and servos, which is pretty cool.
Pretty frightening too.
It is pretty frightening, but we could be seeing a whole new field in basically making things move in dynamics, especially mechanical dynamics, when talking about robots, because this could add movement to new prosthetics, for instance.
Definitely. Like when Sean was explaining to me earlier, he used the example of a hand. So you won't be attaching to your hand, but basically it's, you'll be able to do this with the actuators instead of, a big bulky thing where it's like the size of this on this.
Yeah, where each knuckle is its own servo.
Yeah.
So, speaking of prosthetics or possible prosthetics, this one's actually a reality. German company Össur, I hope I pronounced that right, has actually released a robotic knee.
Yeah. The robotic motorized knee.
Yeah. A lot of people are kind of sitting there going, so, we've had them for a while.
Oh.
We haven't had them this way. They actually are able to do this if they can apply this prosthetic basically right onto the bone, like it's an actual transplant. So if you have a transfemoral amputation, that is, it's at your thigh, above the knee, you can actually get this applied to you. And the whole idea is the new electric motor they're using is this completely self-contained unit, and it moves. It mimics the actual motion of a healthy leg.
Yep. So it's the
it does the actual movement. But the upside that other robotic legs, especially testing ones, it never actually lifted the heel. This doesn't sound like a big innovation, but when you walk, your heel gets lifted off the floor or off the ground.
Yeah.
And that's so that your toes have got clearance, and your foot has clearance when you move it.
When you swing your foot off, you're not kicking the ground.
Exactly. And most of them don't have that. So, I mean, most prosthetics, especially if it's just a false leg, and it just, it's just the rubber or plasticky one.
You're basically using your hip to lift
Throw
your leg
it
up
around.
instead of using the muscles around where your knee would be.
And exactly. And on Sam's point of muscles, they actually get worked because you actually have to use them in the way that you would have before. So it's kind of neat. We're getting to a point now where prosthetics are advancing to, I'll say, regular comfort for the user. So we could be seeing quite an interesting jump in the way of, I guess, robotics and just, that's sad.
Sorry.
But we can see an interesting jump coming up in this industry. So that basically wraps it up for this week on science. So 3 stories that are kind of going into robotics. Not really. One of them
Making your
wasn't.
limbs better through robotics.
Hey everybody, welcome to Behind the Lens for this week. Starting it off, we talked about Thunderbolt earlier. Nikon might be incorporating it?
Yes, so there's been some rumors that the potential D4, which would be the replacement to the D3, will have Thunderbolt built into it. And arguably could be potentially one of the first cameras to have that technology.
Probably,
now, you might go, well, why do you need that in a camera? Because, you're only taking pictures with it. But these cameras are taking a lot of HD video these days. And HD video takes up a lot of space. So if you are shooting professionally, shooting video, you might have a 64 or 128 gig card that you're shooting video on. And if you got to transfer 128 gigs worth of video, takes some time.
Yeah.
You're looking at probably, at 128, you're probably looking at about an hour to be able to copy that off. So if you can do that in, I don't know, what's the multiplication from regular USB?
Fast.
Yeah, like 10 or 12 times faster. So if you can instead, transfer 128 gigs in 10 minutes. That's a lot faster for your workflow, especially if you're, something like a D4 is the kind of camera that a photojournalist would have, and they might be out in Egypt covering stuff, and they need to get that footage up as soon as possible. And so they can't sit around and wait an hour for stuff to download. So, it's interesting to think that kind of stuff could come to cameras, and there might be benefit to speed up transfer times for sure. Obviously, if and when the D4 gets announced, and if it has Thunderbolt built into it, we'll let you know for sure. Samsung announced some new lenses for their NX series of cameras. They announced 5 new lenses. So they announced an 18-200 f3.5 to 6.3 with image stabilization. They announced a 16-80 f3.5 to 4.5 with image stabilization. They announced a 60mm f2.8 macro with image stabilization. And then they also announced an 85mm f1.4, which I'm excited for. I think that'll be a nice lens. And a 16mm f2.4 lens.
Now, are these all those eye lenses?
Yes, I believe all of them have the eye function button built into them. Now, here's the thing. If Samsung was like, hey, we're making an 18-200 and we're making a 16-80, and you'll get them in December 2011. Samsung, what is the point of telling us that you're going to have lenses a year later?
Yeah.
Do you not understand this industry? If you're going to tell us about lenses, give them to us in like 4 months tops. Telling us, hey, check out this awesome lens that you can buy 1 year from now.
Yeah, because it's not like I'm going to go out and buy one of these cameras because, 10 months from now I can get that lens.
The lens I wanted, I can buy a year from now.
Yeah.
I just got to wait. So it's nice to see that Samsung's flushing out their line of lenses. I think they're being really weird about basically going, hey, here, you might be able to have it in
It
this
is a
many months.
hard thing for them to do, though, because they can't not announce stuff,
It's true.
but they can't announce stuff too early.
Yeah.
So it's kind of...
So, I mean, I really feel like they probably should have waited on that a
Maybe
little bit.
announce some of them now.
I guess.
Releasing, I don't know.
I guess their mentality is they want people to know that they plan on continuing that brand. So it's like, hey, these are some lenses that you'll get in a year from now, meaning in a year from now we'll still be making this kind of camera. I guess it's sort of a reassurance. But then the people who actually own an NX10 or 11 or a 100 are kind of like, I gotta wait another year for that 18-200. So, but there are some cool lenses coming out. I'm excited for the 85-1.4. I think that might be a nice lens. So the gear review for this week, we are talking about half-inch rails, which is a company run by a gentleman by the name of Sam Morgan-Moore out of the UK. He makes cost-effective DSLR rigging systems. The big thing about any time you're using a follow focus is that you have to put a lens gear on your lens to be able to actually mesh with that follow focus. Now there's a couple different types of gears you can get. The sort of cheap gears are gears like this, and what they do is they have little pins that you take out and they can be resized for different lenses. So when you actually end up putting it on your lens ends up looking like this. Now they're cost effective. You're usually paying around $20 or $30 for a gear like this. But they're a bit cumbersome. You can't really drop that in your bag very easily because this is going to come off. And then if you need to, if you got a couple different lenses, they're going to take up a lot of space because you want to put one on each lens. So what companies like Zacuto and Red Rock and stuff like that have made what they call flex gears, which are gears that are really small and they can be sort of ratcheted down to a lens for specifically the size. But the problem with those lens gears is they usually cost around $60 to $100 for one gear.
And
then it gets pricey. If you got
gotta fit
five
five
lenses,
it gets
it's like, all right, I just spent like $300 to $500 on the lens gears. So half-inch rails have come up with a really awesome product, which is these guys right here. And what that? Yeah, I mean, basically what it is, it's a .08 pitch gear, which is what all the follow focuses use. And the premise behind it is it's just a piece of plastic, and you wrap it around your lens, and then you use a zip tie to hold it in place. So you can see we've put it on these lenses, and there's a little zip tie that keeps it down. Now, the downside to these guys is that you do have to buy them for a specific size. So there's a small, a medium plus, and a large. And they basically have different sizes based on the lenses you have. So we've got some smalls on these guys, and then there's a medium on this guy here. And then you can also get a large. The big thing about these guys, though, is that you're going to be able to pick up about 3 of these lens gears. Depending on where you buy them from, some people are kitting them in a package of 3, some are in packages of 4, and some of them are a choose-your-own size or a pack of 3 that's a small, medium, and large. But you'll be able to get, at the very least, a pack of 3 of these for about $35.
Which, compared to one for $25.
Yes. Or one zip gear, which is much smaller and more minimalist than this, for about $60. When you start buying 3 of these for $35, it starts to be an awesome deal.
Yeah.
So if you're someone who's doing a lot of event photography and you are in and out of your bag switching lenses and you need to have a gear that can stay on there that isn't going to go anywhere, but you can still actually put your lens in your bag, then I would recommend checking out the half-inch rails mod straps is what they're called. So you can go to their website. They've got a couple different suppliers right now. The brand new products just came out about 2 weeks ago. I managed to get a first sort of beta batch of them. And so far I'm really impressed. Ordered a second set to put some more on some other lenses. They attach well and they're really cost effective. I honestly think if you're using a follow focus, it's your best dollar for value for lens gears, bar none. So check out our show notes to see a link for half-inch rails if you want to pick some up.
And that brings us to the end of Behind the Lens for this week.
And that brings us to the end of the show this week. As per usual, if you want to get a hold of us, you can reach us at Twitter at @almost_Friday.
Or if you want to send us an email, you can do so at contact@almostfridayshow.com.
So until next time, stay away from thunderbolts? I don't know.
Lightning peaks?
Lightning peaks? Lightning bolts? Well, that makes sense, actually. What else can Intel come up with that doesn't make any sense?
Will I am?
Oh, yeah, that.